Now, load shedding has become a term that needs no introduction, with scheduled power outages expected to increase as we head into the winter months. This means that businesses, particularly those relying on email, will have to find ways around having no access to their networks and servers. Mimecast specializes in unified email management, and joining me in studio to give us some tips for working in the dark is their local customer experience officer, Christelle Hicklin. Christelle, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, it needs no introduction, and whether you're an SME or a large corporate these days, everybody has technology, everybody's on email. From a business risk perspective, what does it mean when we have these rolling blackouts or unexpected power shortages, and what happens if a business is not prepared?
Well, if you think about business continuity and the state of business in our environment today, I would say about 80% of the work that people do during the day is via email, whether it's quotes or invoices or just general communication, internal or external to the organization. So when those lights go out, are you going to have all your people standing around drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes and joking with each other, or do you actually want to continue with business? And the reality is a lot of businesses spend a lot of money on disaster recovery plans and all, what happens if the building burns down or anything like that. But they don't think about things like power cuts. And what we are urging businesses to think about is, what do I do if I have no power, and am I empowering my employees to be able to work remotely regardless of what's happening at my office?
And what's the solution for that? Is it merely having a generator in place? How do you make sure that your business continuity plan includes that?
Well, I think you've got to have multiple facets to business continuity. Obviously, there's the facility side, making sure that you have a Jenny or you've got some other way to get power. But if you're unable to do that, you need to make sure that your employees have access to the tools that they need to do business with remotely outside of the office or in another environment, so that they can still do their duties without necessarily having to be in the building where you have no power.
Now, businesses are at different life cycles. An SME doesn't have the same infrastructure as, let's say, a big multinational. How do you know which BCM plan works for you? How do you implement that, and whose responsibility is it in the company to make sure that the business continuity keeps continuing, so to speak?
Well, I think a BCM plan can be uniform across SME, mid or enterprise in terms of the outcome that you're looking for. You want your employees to be able to function regardless of the environment, and that really is the responsibility of the officer that you might put in charge of that. But directly, it's really all of management's problem to think about these things. You don't want people to have to worry about that on a day-to-day basis. So whether you're in an SME or in a mid-market or in an enterprise, obviously your enterprise and mid-market guys will have a lot more people and budget focused on that. But that makes it even more important for SME guys to be able to empower employees to work remotely. So if something goes down, you've got something to fail over that's sitting in the cloud or sitting somewhere that's independent of your infrastructure, so that they're able to still perform their duties.
Now, power is one risk that South Africans face. What are some of the biggest challenges beyond that the country and perhaps the continent is struggling with?
Well, potholes. No, but seriously, I mean, from a business perspective, I think, around the continent, the increasing need for connectivity, for better, infrastructure to get to the cloud. Because I think from a cost and a risk perspective, more and more people are looking at other ways of taking the risk of your infrastructure on premise into another environment. So, a lot of the risks of running a business are the things that can go wrong, flooding, fires, power
flooding
cuts.
Is very relevant right now.
All of those kinds of things that do happen. But if you create an infrastructure outside of your actual office space that allows you to continue your business, and inevitably that does mean looking at infrastructure inside the cloud, being able to connect from wherever you are and able to perform your duties. That's a cost saving and a risk reducing strategy for any business, no matter where you are on the continent or what size your business is.
So due diligence is the answer.
Absolutely. And any business that doesn't want to answer your questions, that's where your alarm bells go off.
That's not a business you do business with.
Yes.